Hi, I'm John and welcome back to the Contemplative Commuter. This is going to be my second upload for my new YouTube channel, so for those of you who watched the introductory video, thanks for that and thanks for joining me again. So I'm heading back from the office today in the gorgeous sunshine. It's 26.5 degrees, it's absolutely lovely weather, and I thought I'd do some helpful consumer advice today. And the big question is, what car did I choose to do my very lengthy commute in? So for those of you who tuned in before, you'll know I've got a 2-hour each way commute, around about 200 miles a day to my office that I do most days in the week. So considering that, and also thinking about I love dogs and have a dog, you would expect me to buy something that's big, comfy, economical, that I can throw my Labrador into. So something maybe an SUV like a Velar or an X5 with a nice big diesel engine. And I, because I'm an idiot, didn't do that at all and instead chose a BMW M2. So why did I choose a BMW M2 to do my commute in? In standard YouTube channel fare, I'm going to do my top 5 loves and top 5, I won't go as extreme as hates, but top 5 things I'd like to change about the car, or maybe they should have done differently. So starting with my top 5 loves, completely subjective one. I love the way it looks. I know that makes me incredibly shallow, but I think the car looks great and slightly different over the standard 2 series, with a bit more of a squat stance, the widened arches, the redesigned bumpers. It looks really, really good in my opinion. I know that's completely subjective, but for me, it is an important part of why I buy a car. Next one, it's relatively economical, and I will emphasize the word relatively. So for a car, 375 brake horsepower, it's also not the lightest car in the world. But do you know what? I average 30 miles to the gallon, maybe a little bit more if I'm not going so quickly. Obviously, I always stick within the speed limits, but yeah, I get over an average of 30 miles to the gallon, which I think for the performance is decent. Next, and kind of related, which again sounds really dreary, but the overall running costs of the car have been great in the first year of ownership. So it's done 22,000 miles. I've owned it 12 months. The only costs for me have been putting fuel in the car. It's still on its original tyres. The rears are coming up for a change soon because they're down to about 3.5 millimeters. I hasn't used a drop of oil. The only oil I've had to put into it was its standard 1200 mile oil change. I've still got 2,000 miles until its first service. So yeah, it's been really, really cheap to run. And also, moving on to the 4th point, and a really important one for someone who does such a long commute, it has been, touch wood, incredibly reliable. Nothing has gone wrong with the car in the 12 months I have owned it. I know saying that I will have completely jinxed myself and it'll break down on this journey home. So hopefully it doesn't, but it's been completely reliable. And the 5th thing I love is the performance of the car and how it drives. So 375 brake horsepower is more than enough for me. It's more than quick enough. I've gone for the DCT automatic gearbox model, really short, snappy shifts. Just, it's a really, really nice car to drive. So those are the 5 things I love about my car. Flipping it around to the 5 things I would love to change is, even though it is quite economical, it hasn't got the biggest fuel tank in the world. So for someone who's driving 200 miles a day, the range on this car is about 300 to 350 miles. So I spend a hell of a lot of time on petrol station forecourts, which isn't the greatest place to spend your time. So a bigger fuel tank would be appreciated. The next one, it looks great on the inside, but not so great on the inside. Or should I say, it looks great on the outside, but not so great on the inside. When I say not so great, it's functional, it's well built, but do you know what? It doesn't feel very special for a 50 grand car. I think they've probably changed that a little bit with the competition pack models, where they've got the BMW M4 seats in, probably lifts the interior a bit, but do you know what? They could have tried a bit harder there. Which brings me to the other thing, point number 4. I have competition pack jealousy, which isn't the car's fault, but some of the modifications they made to that car, upgraded suspension, it's got the real M3, M4 engine in it, the better seats, all of those things I would really like on this car. But do you know what? That again isn't the car's fault, it's mine for not holding on and waiting for the competition pack. And the final thing that I would like to change about this car is maybe softening off the suspension a smidge. I know that makes me sound like an old man, but if you've got moobs or boobs, they will jiggle in this car, even on super flat motorways. Now I know I could rectify this with some suspension upgrades, but it would have been nice if maybe the car had adaptive dampers just to soften it off for the motorways. But do you know what? Those are 5 things being incredibly picky. Overall, if you're in the market for a relatively quick, small coupe that's quite good fun, that you can do a decent commute in, it's still relatively practical, decent sized boot, you can get 4 people into it, you can also get a Labrador into it as well. You might be able to see on the camera, I've got a dog cover on the back seat, so you can get your dog into it as well. I would recommend the BMW M2 if you're in the used market, or if you're going brand new, the competition pack car seems to be a good choice. And on that is the conclusion to my second YouTube video and my second contemplative commuter thought. Thanks for joining me. As everybody who's on YouTube says, please subscribe, please give me some feedback, and I'll do another upload soon. Thanks, bye bye.